Good morning. My name is Allison Ayotte. I'm one of the tutoring coordinators at the Office of Learning Services. And I'm here today to walk you through some of our offerings, point out some of the things that are newer, and just answer any questions that come up about what we offer at the Office of Learning Services, or we're also known as the Tutoring Center. So alongside the right hand, I'm actually showing our website right now, oswego.edu/OLS. Along the right-hand side of the website, if you go to the Student Services tab, you can see all the different things that we offer to our SUNY Oswego students. We offer some group tutoring, drop-in tutoring where students can just show up for help in specific courses, drop-in writing assistance, review sessions and workshops on occasion. Our Associate Director, Casey Town, does a really good job of keeping our website up to date. Right now, we still have our Spring 25 offerings on the website, which I'm going to show you just as an example. And then when the tutors come back in the fall, we will update everything based on the courses that our fall 2025 tutors are able to tutor. So we have lists on the drop-in page of which math courses, which other STEM courses, and which content courses we offer drop-in tutoring for. I know we have a math faculty member in attendance, so I'm just gonna show the math drop-in tutoring that we offered last semester. We offered tutoring, drop-in tutoring for a lot of the 100 and 200 level math classes. And we recently, within the last year, moved our STEM drop-in tutoring to Shineman because we've started outgrowing our space in OLS. Okay. Our tutors have also been offering a lot of review sessions, which is a newer development. So for final exams this past spring, we had a lot of tutors offering review sessions for math, STEM, some of the content area courses. So I'll show you some of the content courses that we offered review sessions for. A lot of modern language students come to tutoring. And we have a lot of embedded math tutors, so we offered a whole lot of math review sessions as well before finals. Students can make one-on-one appointments for all different courses. They can schedule tutoring sessions for a variety of courses that are shown here on our website. And again, these are the spring 2025 offerings. They are arranged alphabetically. One of our newer offerings last year, we added technology tutoring. So I'm gonna scroll down to the technology department offerings. So we have tech tutors available for some of the 100 and 200 level tech ed courses. We've also added some more reasons that students can book writing assistance for. So we had some students who needed specific assistance with some STEM lab reports. So we have writing tutors who are STEM majors who can offer assistance with lab report writing. And of course, we still have a lot of students visit for essay and research paper writing. Our Writing Center coordinator, Stephanie Pritchard, she made arrangements with Dr. Lynn Blanchfield of the History Department, who's also our Fulbright program advisor, to give one-on-one to support to students who are writing graduate school and fellowship applications. So that is available to help students. We also have several options for academic coaching where tutors can work one-on-one with students to develop academic skills in college level reading, English for speakers of other languages, note-taking techniques and apps, so either handwritten or digital notes, depending on what the student would like to work on. Studying and exam prep. Our tutors are trained in things like space practice and retrieval practice, effective learning strategies, evidence-based learning strategies, and also time management and calendar apps. So either digitally or on paper, depending on the student's preference. And every student is different. So if students make a one-on-one appointment, they can tailor these skills and strategies to what what they need, and work on growing their skills. And one of the other nice things about academic coaching is a student can get some strategies, try them out for a week or two, see how they go, and then come back and follow up with the tutor to either take the next step or tweak the strategies, and work together with someone to improve their learning and time management strategies. Okay. And we also offer technology assistance. Our offerings for technology assistance change from semester to semester as tutors let us know about new tech tools they've learned that the professors are introducing in classes, or sometimes we have students or faculty reach out for help with a specific program or app. If we have a tutor that has experience with that and is able to help with that, then we're willing to add it to our list of technology help. So a couple of the more recent additions are CAD and Fusion. So CAD stands for computer aided design, and Fusion is a platform for computer aided design. And this is used in the technology department, technology education courses. R is a relatively newer offering for us. It's a programming language for statistical computing and data visualization. And we're, like I said before, we're willing to add things to this list as the need arises. I also want to point out, we did, Stephanie Pritchard, our Writing Center coordinator, did start piloting some limited online writing assistance. Graduate students, online undergraduate students, and distance learners at our Syracuse campus can use this resource for online writing tutoring. I want to point out online undergraduate student means students who are not here on campus at all. Some students have a mix of in-person and online classes. Those students who are here in person are expected to use our in-person tutoring. The online undergraduate students refers to students who only take classes remotely. So for example, they might be taking classes through extended learning programs. Okay. And then as we have for several semesters now, we also have another online tutoring resource to support students For example, during the summer and winter terms, we don't offer in-person tutoring, but the Thinking Storm tutoring is available as a resource. And it can also be accessed, late at night when the tutoring center is not open, and students can access this through Brightspace. The tutoring resources bar here, they'd go down to Thinking Storm to use that resource.
So is Thinking Storm online like is it it's online tutoring? Is it done with AI? Is it done with people who just work 24/7? What is it exactly?
Okay, that's a good question about the AI. So they have some drop-in and appointment-based tutoring. So there are, actual people that do this tutoring, but it is text-based. So the student, it's a little bit slower than face-to-face tutoring would be, because the student would have to type in their question and then wait to receive a texted response from the tutor. I don't know if, they are transitioning to using AI to supplement their tutoring. That's a great question. Thank you, Michael.
So for summer courses, would you suggest that we let our students know on our syllabi that consider online tutoring from Thinking Storm as opposed to OLS, or as opposed to in-person or online tutoring from the Office of Learning Services?
Definitely, because OLS is not open during the summer. Our tutors are mostly undergraduate peer tutors, and so they're just not here during the summer. So we can't offer the in-person tutoring like we do during the fall and spring semesters. And we also, even during the school year, if it's a course that we don't have a tutor for, like for example, an upper division course, students could, see if the online Thinking Storm tutoring could help them. And then we also recommend professors' office hours for those more advanced courses too. Are there any other questions at this point about the services that we offer? I see that one of my colleagues from OLS jumped onto the call, so.
I saw that there were a number of different technological tutoring services.
Yes.
Is there any services or any tutoring available for students who want to ethically use AI for, brainstorming or practice use for, getting ready for exams or quizzes or anything like that?
That is not a specific service we've added to our list. However, our writing center coordinator, Stephanie Pritchard, she's one of our campus and SUNY-wide people that have been, staying on top of AI developments. And she's been offering a lot of workshops this week. And she does train the writing tutors, with coaching them to ethically use AI with students who come in for writing tutoring. And actually a couple of those students presented 2 days ago. And it's, the tutors, they definitely remind the student, what's your faculty members' AI policy? What does it say in the syllabus? Are you allowed to use AI for this? And I will certainly mention to my colleagues that you asked this question, because it's, probably something that's on other people's minds as well. So I'd also like to point out, under our faculty and staff services, So right now we're in the middle of hiring tutors for the fall 2025 semester. So if a faculty member wants to recommend a strong student that we, should reach out to potentially recruit as a tutor, there's a spot on our website where you can use a real easy form to recommend a student to become a tutor for us. And then once you provide their name, we reach out to them via email with instructions on how to apply. And all of our applications are on Handshake. There is also a syllabus statement in the faculty and staff services section. You're welcome to use this on your syllabus to help refer students to OLS and raise awareness. And other ways to collaborate with us would be to have us come visit your classroom at the beginning of the semester. We can talk about what services we offer. So there's a form you can fill out to request an OLS staff member to come visit your classroom. We can also accommodate some classes to come visit OLS and see our space. We can do this for early morning classes when the tutoring center is not yet open. For example, 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. classes could come visit OLS to see the space because we're not open for tutoring at that time. This works better with, smaller classes who could fit in the space. So like 20, 40 students, we could accommodate, but we wouldn't be able to accommodate like a, 100% lecture course in there. So. I'd also like to point out a couple other workshops that are coming up in the next few days that will showcase some of the things that we've done in OLS. So session 20, which is tomorrow, Friday, different thoughts on different thinkers. Sky Minkoff was one of our tutors. Sky recently graduated, but Sky is presenting with some other students on an initiative they did this past year in OLS. We had a Hack Your Brain Skillshare series, which was neurodivergent students helping other neurodivergent students with strategies that help them be successful. Rainey Mallon is going to be taking that program over next year. So the students will be able to, talk about the experience of doing this together and also the direction that this may be going in next year when Rainey takes it over. And then session 33 next week. My colleagues, Teresa Hoffman and Casey Town, will be presenting an overview of embedded math tutoring. They'll be able to share some data and answer specific questions of what has been happening with the embedded math tutoring program.
Thank you for the plug.
You're welcome, Teresa. So, are there any other questions that I can answer at this point? Or Teresa, is there anything that you'd like to say about what we offer at OLS?
I think you did a lovely job covering it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Michael,
you mentioned, yeah, you mentioned neurodivergent student training. Just when it comes to neurodivergent students, how willing should we be to, step in and, try to speak on their behalf when it comes to getting them services at the Office of Accessibility Resources or sources, or getting them appointments at OLS or other types of help? Because sometimes I feel like a lot of these students, they are too shy to try to do it themselves. Is there any recommendation you make about this? I had at least one student last semester who, after the final exam, was saying that, they were unable to take the final and felt it was because they didn't have, you know, the help they needed for their neurodivergent learning, which they had never shared with me throughout the course of the semester, that
Yeah,
they were in that situation.
okay. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts is that I want to help. I want to be able to get them signed up, let them know that these services are available. But I know also that if I overstep my boundaries, the student might get uncomfortable, and that might be something that, you know, could get the school in trouble, could get me in trouble. And
Mm,
so there's just a real sense of helplessness of
mm,
not being able to step in for, a student who just might not be comfortable with getting help, but needs the
mhm.
help.
Okay. Um, so I can share a few brief thoughts just initially. Um, the Office of Accessibility Resources is a great partner. So as far as questions about when and how to refer to them, I think that asking Office of Accessibility Resources staff would probably be best. But of course, at the beginning of the semester, you know, I'm sure you mentioned on your, when you're going over your syllabus, I'm sure you mentioned it at that time, but sometimes it needs to be mentioned, multiple times for students to take advantage of things. I also think the students that are presenting tomorrow would have a good perspective in answering the question that you asked. One of the things that I learned from working with Sky this past year is that neurodivergent students are the experts on how their own brains work, and they have certain strategies that might work for them at a certain time but may not work at another time. And the students that have been attending the Skillshare throughout the year want to be empowered as the ones to share the answers to those questions, if that makes sense.
Yes.
They have situated knowledge from their experience that not all of us have. So we want to listen to their perspective and see as a student how they might feel about the question that you're asking. So I see that it's 10:23, and I believe there's another session coming in here soon. So I do need to end this recording, but if any other questions come up, feel free to reach out to us, ols@oswego.edu, and we can talk further. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Allison.
Thanks, Teresa.